So we're just going to kind of share out a little bit today of what we have been doing lately here at Indian Valley. We've made kind of the switch from the whole paper Paul tickets over to a digital economy. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with everybody. You guys have anything you'd like to add?
First of all, can you guys hear us if we talk? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear us?
We can hear you and we can see your screen.
They weren't jiving next to each other, so we only have one speaker on one of our laptops, but are seated in front of two. So
Okay.
This would be the presentation that we shared with our staff at the beginning of the school year. This was the first year that we transitioned from our paper tickets to something completely different. So we had to roll this out to our staff in a pretty short amount of time and get this rolling. So this is basically the nuts and bolts of how we got the PBIS reward system started in our school this year. Seems to be working well. As we go through the slides, you'll see a little bit more where we have some data that you can look at to show exactly how it's been working for us. But if we go to the next slide here, the reason why we chose this was really because we had kids who were getting rewarded frequently for doing the right thing, but they weren't always seeing the rewards. So we did have the individual rewards in place within the classroom where they were able to earn things there. We also had rewards that were available for kids that could put their paw tickets in buckets, and then it was a random drawing where they could win something. And that's where kids were starting to get a little bit discouraged because they were putting their paws in a bucket and the chances of them winning was slim to none sometimes because we have almost 600 kids in our school. So we did keep track of who won and when they won so that we could try to eliminate that problem, but it still wasn't working the way that we wanted it to work. And they were still also getting rewarded at the school-wide level. When we reached a certain goal of paw tickets that they had earned as a school, we would have a giant school-wide celebration. So the one piece that we were really missing was just that we felt like kids were doing the right thing, but they weren't always getting those rewards as frequently as we wanted them to get them. So we decided to move into this PBIS reward system where they were given more incentives for showing positive behavior. Our expectations here at Indian Valley are respectful, responsible, ready, and safe. And they're able to get what they want in return for showing us that expected behavior on a daily basis. So they don't have to just hope that they're going to put their paw tickets in and they're going to win a raffle anymore. They know that if they receive points for their good behavior or for that expected behavior, that they are going to get something out of that.
And I'll say too, both Tyler and Kelly are classroom teachers. I'm the school counselor here in our building. As Kelly said, we have a little just over 600 students at our school. And we also have a large, we have 2 emotional support classrooms. So from my perspective, you know, I was seeing a lot of students who they need that constant reinforcement with the points or with the paw tickets. And then they get, you know, they put their wads and wads of paw tickets in the buckets and for weeks in a row, they're not winning anything. We're also a K-5 building. So as a team, we were finding it hard to, you know, we would have 5 buckets available a week, 5 choices of things they could put their paws in for. We were struggling to find things to put in, you know, make available that were, you know, attractive to kindergartners all the way up through 5th graders. So that's something too that I think this has helped with. We've tried to put things in the store that are attractive to all different age groups, as well as giving those students that, you know, we are hitting them with more points than, you know, than probably your typical non-special education student, but they're able to get those rewards quickly.
So we talked about this already. These are our expectations: respectful, responsible, ready, and safe. We have these posted all through our school at various locations, the hot spots where we really are looking for kids to show these expected behaviors. These are also posted in our classroom. Pretty much everywhere you go in the building, you'll see these 4 expectations. So what makes the PBIS rewards system a little bit different from what we were doing in the traditional method in the past was that there are no more paper paw tickets. So, every school calls them something different. We call them paw tickets, but we had pads of paw tickets that we would write kids' names on. Teachers had stampers for their names. They would stamp them. We'd give them out to kids. And then the kids were responsible for keeping those paws and turning them into those buckets when they were trying to win something. So this system eliminates that paper token. Everything is done by either a QR code that can be scanned. Options are to have badges for the kids. QR codes can go on desks. They can be displayed somewhere in the classroom. Or a lot of the primary grades, we just use our iPads. We have the groups of kids listed under our classroom, and we can give those paw points out to kids as we see fit, just using our iPads and clicking on their names. And then the big piece of this that was probably the component that is the most time consuming, but it's also the most rewarding, is our online store. So we have a location in our school where we house all of the store items, and we offer different items based on the month. Maybe we have a special holiday or a special event that we are purchasing items for that. We have display cases in the school where we display these items for kids to see. And then they get on their iPads or their computers, they access the online store, and then they're able to see all of the things that are available to purchase. So yes, I see that question there, like class dojo points, almost exactly like class dojo points. So they are kind of in control of their own points. If they want to save them for a bigger item, they save them. A lot of kids, they want to use them right away. So we have the items in the store set at prices that makes it so that kids can buy things if they want to buy something small and they want to do it right away, or they can save up and buy something big. They can shop any day of the week. We do deliveries. Most deliveries happen on Wednesdays and Fridays. We have staff members that will fill those orders throughout the week. And then we have student helpers in 5th grade who will deliver those items at the end of the day on Wednesdays and Fridays. Our PBIS program runs by committees. So we have committees that handle each of our PBIS components. Erin is the chairperson for our online store. I handle school-wide activities. Tyler does data and also parent involvement. And then we have other committees as well that also are components of our PBIS program. So we meet with our committees and we hash out what the responsibilities are and what needs done. But as far as filling orders, that's probably one of the areas that has been the most struggle for us because it's really teachers that are doing it. We do have some special area teachers like music and library that have blocks of time built into their schedule for PBIS, and they are scheduled to be in the store at a certain part of the day filling orders for that purpose. We also have some parent volunteers that will come in, and obviously any of us, whenever we have the moment, we bounce in there and make sure we can fill orders. But the goal for us, and I think we've been pretty successful as it is, to make sure that I'm gonna write that one down. That we have orders filled. Everything is depleted from the orders on Wednesday and Friday, and we know that when kids are ordering things, it's important that they want them and they get them. So we're trying to be as efficient as possible to do that. One of the questions was funding. How are we getting money to do this? So we do fundraisers here at the school. Anybody want to talk a little bit about those fundraisers?
So what got this started was we have new administration that came in and he wanted the school store. So we found the PBIS rewards system. And so we've been doing fundraisers throughout the year. One of our biggest fundraisers that we've had so far is during our Halloween parade this past year. We did a pizza party war competition between grade levels, and within a day of parents coming to our Halloween parade, we had $2,500 in the bucket, just like that. There's been a committee of fundraising that have been doing some different fundraisers throughout the year, you know, gift card sales among teachers. I think what else?
We'll do a coin drive.
We'll do a coin drive here in the spring, where that money will get split between some different charities in our PBIS system. So we had some funding to start the year, just based on other funding that the principals were able to move around as well.
And our home and school, or for many of you, it might be your parent-teacher organization. They usually set aside a little chunk of money for us. It's nothing extravagant, but it's something at least we know we can count on to start the year with.
And we were fortunate too, with our home and school has bought our Paul ticket pads in the past, and they were spending anywhere from $2,200 to $2,500 a year on our Paul pads. So that was a big savings right there when we made the switch to PBIS rewards, because it did come from district funds, instead of home and school having to purchase those pads for us as well.
So some of the questions that are coming in are questions about how to scan and how do they get their points. And so if we keep moving through this presentation, those questions might be answered. And if they're not, just pop them in the chat again and we will revisit them. So we're gonna go to the next slide.
Something too, real quick, I was just gonna add, depending on where you're at, again, we got new administration, and it was kind of hustled to get this together. We wanted to start the school year with it. We didn't want to start, you know, mid-year, quarter of the way through the year. So we had sent some letters out to local businesses saying, basically, whatever you're willing to give, we'd like to try to sell it in the store. You know, after this year is over and we have a better grasp on what the kids have been wanting, I think something we'll do differently is still mail those letters to the local businesses, but say, here's a list of things that kids like. If you're willing to donate any of these items, we would be, you know, very appreciative. Whereas, again, this past year, we just said, send us whatever you have. And we got kind of a mixture of random things. So kind of just something, you know, that we learned. But we did have people that said like, well, you know, we'll buy a couple dozen of something, just let us know, you know,
So one of the questions was, you know, how do they scan? How do they get these points? So staff can recognize student behavior from anywhere in the school. They can use an iPad, they can use their laptop. If they're in their classroom, they can use computer, they can use their phone. You can download this app on your phone or any device. And it's pretty simple. You just either type the kid's name in and you press what your expectations are that you're rewarding them for: respectful, responsible, ready, and safe. It's the PBIS Rewards app is what it's called. And the kids all have access to that same thing on their devices here at school. We also invited the parents to join in so that they can see what the kids are doing, how many points they're rewarded with, so that they can encourage that behavior at home as well. So we did not pass out any more pod tickets. And we did worry about, this was one of the questions in the chat, was pushback from staff that are a little more old school. We have that here at Ivy as well. We were a little bit worried about that, but actually it has gone pretty seamless as far as people really embracing this. Teachers and staff that we thought maybe would not be interested in this and would say absolutely not, like, I prefer the old way. I like what we're doing. I'm used to that. We have not heard those comments. People seem to really be enjoying what we're doing and how this is working with our kids. Tyler, do you want to talk a little bit about the cost of the app? And
yeah, so PBIS Rewards in itself is a complete system. It encompasses everything that is involved with PBIS. We were worrisome that the price of PBIS rewards was going to be, out of our budget. For a 600 student school, it cost us $1,700 for the year. So I believe it was a flat fee of $500 for the school. And then for every student, it was like maybe $1.95 a kid, $2 somewhere in there. But it cost us about $1,700. So when we were looking at how much we were spending on our Paul tickets in comparison to PBIS rewards, we were saving right around $1,000 right off the bat. And that includes everything from the app. The app is free in the App Store, to everything that we do here. The only piece that we did not buy as a school was the office referral system. It does have a data piece. Unfortunately, PBIS rewards and our Skyward system don't talk to each other the way that we would like them to. So we weren't able to really track our data within because of reporting to the state and stuff like that. So our higher up administration was against it at this point. But it does encompass, it will encompass your data too, if you would like to store it there, but just the app itself with everything that you need was right around $1,700 for us. Now you could have we did not purchase student badges this year. We just gave them kind of sticker QR codes on their desk. Within the app, you're able to search for any student in the school. So if I'm, walking down the hallway and I see a student doing something right, I can just search their name up within my phone, give them their points and be on my way. If they don't have that badge on them.
That's a yearly fee.
And it is a yearly fee, yes.
There was another question about being able to see how many points staff is awarding to students. And yes, you can see that. We have admin access to our PBIS rewards. So we're able to get into the system. We can see which teachers are rewarding points to students, how many they're rewarding each day, how many they are rewarding a week, how many they have rewarded as to date. Our admin also has that access as well. So when they're noticing that some are a little more lax than others, that's a conversation that admin has with those teachers that, hey, we really need you to be, giving out these call points a little more frequently. So that's something that they do handle. There are all sorts of reports that can be run. You can see how many points students have received. We also use this program for our teacher staff rewards, which we'll talk about here in a little bit as well. This program also encompasses not only tier 1, but it also has the access for tier 2. If you are at that point with your students and your school, there are options in there for tier 2 reports and interventions, check in, check out. We also use it for SEL checks, that social emotional check. We do that every morning with the whole school does that as well.
So that price does include, the student, staff, family app and everything. That is all included in that price. And I did see there is a messaging tool between the family school option. We did not utilize that this year because primarily we've used Class Dojo. So we just kind of kept it at that at this point, but there is, I believe, a messaging option within the app as well. And I did see there was about move-ins. Move-in students will come in and out of the system as they're entered. So for example, our school, we use Clever to access a lot of our stuff. And once they are entered into the Clever system at the district level, PBIS rewards and Clever, they talk every single night and they do a resync of any student. So if we have a student that is coming, once they're entered into Clever, they are directly put right into that teacher's classroom that next day. So that's a nice piece of it.
And I also saw the question, does the cost cover all 3 of those apps? So student, I think it's PBIS Rewards Family.
Yes.
And then obviously ours. And the answer is yes. and we'll get into it in a little bit here, but in my role as a school counselor, like in speaking to parents that want to know throughout the day how their kid is doing, like, oh, I have some parents that have really found that valuable because they'll send me a message and they'll be like, I just saw that you rewarded Johnny with 4 points this morning. Like, is he having a good day? That must mean that things are going well. So like parents are watching those apps to see, and it's a conversation piece too for them. They can go home and be like, hey, I saw in one day you earned 10 points today. That must, tell me about that. Who gave you points? Although the parent can see who gave them points. But again, just to, can create those conversations a little more easily than how was your day? Like they can see it right there on the app. So
There was a question about Dojo. We use Dojo school-wide as just a communication piece with families. There is a communication piece in this PBIS rewards that some people will use. We have not moved entirely to that system yet. I would foresee that occurring maybe in the future, that we are all on board with this PBIS rewards, and that's how we are working to communicate with families. So we do mostly communicate via Class Dojo. We do not use Class Dojo points. We're only using it as that communication platform. But there is the same exact thing in PBIS rewards as well. So this slide here, scanning QR codes, this is how students would receive points based on your expectations. So they have QR codes that are accessible in classrooms. We left it totally up to teacher choice as to how they wanted to implement that. Some wanted to put those QR codes on desks. Some wanted to hang them by rings on the board. Some had different ideas, and that was totally okay, as long as we had a chance to make those badges accessible and those QR codes accessible to the teachers. It was their choice as to how they were going to use those. And each scan then, every time you scan, rewards them with points. So you can then choose if it was respectful, responsible, ready, or safe, or depending on whatever your expectations are as a school.
something else too, if you're like me, if you're a specialist or a title staff, or even like special area teachers, within the app, you can create groups. So I have small groups created, like something you have to spend time doing, a little in advance, but for each of my small groups that I run, I have them named and with all the kids that are in that group already created. So if I know, okay, today's my day 6 group, pull that up on my laptop right next to me, and it's just easy to just reach over, and then I'm not scanning anything because I don't have those QR codes in my office, but I can just easily, it's right there on my computer, and I, can just click and reward them instantly right there. A lot of, again, our title staff will do that as well. Just makes it easy, or it can be any groups of kids that you might work with, then they're all in one place, and then you have to go individually reward them.
So the online store, students can get in and they can view their points. Teachers usually like to set a time of the day. Like when you first come in the morning, this is the time for you to be in the store and looking. They might set a different time of the day throughout the day, maybe after lunch or recess if they have a few minutes to get in and browse around, or at the end of the day. Some teachers are very specific with, Thursday is our shopping day. Some teachers let kids shop as they feel they would like to. It's totally up to them. But they can view their points by clicking on that PBIS rewards icon. Some of our students have computers and some of our students have iPads. So on the iPad, it would be an app. On the computer, it would be in our class link is where they would find that icon. And then they can use those points to purchase items in the store. What we found really helpful, I teach first grade, and so with the younger kids, K and 1, the only thing that they can purchase pops up green. So if they can't purchase that item and they don't have enough points for it, that little purchase button will not be green. It won't show up for them. So it's only showing the items that they can purchase based on the amount of points that they have, which is pretty helpful because, dealing with younger kids, they just want to buy everything. So sometimes just having those options that only they can buy are very helpful. We do have our store categorized into different themes. So right now we have our main category, which are items that stay in the shop all year. We also will include candy. So we have a candy shop, we have a snack shop, And then we also have a theme shop, which right now is winter themed. So different items in there that are corresponding to, like, you know, the winter time months. We can talk about that a little bit later as to specifics as to what we have in the store. And like we said earlier, some items can be purchased for only a few points and other items are more. Our candy, we typically like to do like 3 for $25, and things like that. Yeah, we can go on further here and you'll be able to see what that online store looks like from the student view.
Yeah, and the online store, it's all housed within the PBIS Rewards app and site on the computer. And the online store, it just kind of works as a debit card for the kids. So once they purchase the items and they're approved and filled, those points are deducted automatically. So it's kind of like their own little bank account that they have. And it teaches the kids whether or not they want to spend it or not. So it's a really nice, I know that we had a school board member in viewing it the one day and she's like, this is Amazon. And, you know, that's kind of how the kids look at it.
And on the, you know, our admin side of it, you know, running the store, we're the ones who really keep track of when the inventory is low, purchasing new things, and Erin's committee does a lot of that, making sure things are in stock for the students. We do get notifications and you can set that up in the store. If something is below 5, if something is below 3, you set it to however you want. And then you know that you need to purchase more of that item and get it in the store for the next week. So this is what the online store looks like from the student perspective. They would click on that store button there and then you can see the categories listed underneath. Go ahead and click that. And then it would show, we put pictures of what the items are, and then that little buy button over there, or the purchase button, those would light up green if they were available to purchase based on the number of points that the student has. The pictures are very helpful too for the younger ones. And then after they click buy, it's going to arrive in their classroom. We did this as a joke for our staff, but we said sometime between now and the last student day of the year. But really we do it Wednesdays and Fridays.
So something too, Kelly had mentioned, you know, students can only purchase what they have enough points for. Again, that purchase button is more grayscale. They can't click it if they don't have enough points to buy it. Something else you can set, again, we're a K-5 building. If you want to have incentives on there, you know, we have double bubble gum in the school store. As of right now, has not been a problem. K-5, again, our deliveries are always at the end of the day. So I think a lot of classroom teachers say, you know, when your deliveries get here, they need to go right in your book bag and they go home, or I think everybody's different. But, you know, if you do want to offer something that is more, you know, you have a wide variety of grades and you want to offer something that you want only certain grade levels to have access to purchase, you know, or third grade wants to do something special. And so, you know, let that team of teachers do something special. You can go in and change the settings as to what grade level can see that prize option, if that makes sense. So you can see here, we decided to keep classroom coupons. So remember, you know, one component of rewarding students is having those individual rewards. That was something that within the classroom in previous years, when they would get so many Paul tickets, they would get to do something in the class, such as wear a hat for the day. Stinky feet is very popular.
Lunch with a friend.
Yep, use markers for the day.
Show and tell.
Again, geared towards whatever grade level. So I'll let you.
So each grade level, then we just gave them the flexibility to talk amongst their grade level, decide 4 or 5 coupons that would only be purchased for students in that grade level. So, you know, as a first grade team, we got together and said, okay, we want our kids to be able to purchase Stinky Feet, lunch with a friend, show and tell, and sit in the teacher's chair, different things like that. Then as the admin part of it, we went into the store then and created a category for classroom coupons that are available to purchase. And we set a specific points for each of those coupons. So let's say in first grade, it's 15 points earns you that some type of a classroom coupon of your choice. Classroom coupons, they are displayed in the store. I just talked about that. And they're delivered to the students just like any other item in the store would be delivered. So teachers can track the classroom rewards through PBIS rewards. So if you wanted to give your classroom a special classroom award based on the number of points that class has earned in a marking period in a month, that's totally up to you. Teachers like to do that, you know, maybe when students have reached 500 PAW points or 1,000 PAW points, then the classroom gets a movie, a special snack, extra electronic time, extra recess, things like that. Yes, and we can get you our emails. We're writing down notes here so we don't miss anybody. Okay, so there was a piece on this too about somebody had asked a question about rewarding staff. So that's what this section is here. So we do have staff rewards, and we acknowledge other staff members by rewarding them with PBIS points the same way we reward our students. The categories for rewarding staff, they're a little bit different than what we do with our students. So it's helping others, PBIS champions, so going above and beyond something, you know, doing something for our school, and professional development are our three pieces. So staff can get on, they go to the teacher reward part of this reward system. They get on and they check off what they want to reward a teacher for, and that teacher then receives those points. They can check their point values by accessing their teacher reward accounts. And you also get an email every time somebody gives you a point. So if somebody acknowledges me for, you know, helping out in their classroom for something, and I get a point from them, I'll get an email saying, check your teacher rewards, you were just rewarded a point. And then what we do with those rewards is we run raffles for our staff. And staff can put in as many points as they want to take a chance to win that raffle. So we have things like VIP parking, we do Sheets gift cards, we do local business gift cards, lottery tickets, just little things, pick-me-ups throughout the week. And we offer those on Fridays.
And the teacher rewards too, the teachers have the option to kind of post to a wall where other teachers can kind of see where other teachers are, you know, saying good things about other staff members in the building. So it's nice to be able to go through that wall and kind of just check in and make sure that, you know, the staff morale is still going in the right direction here.
You don't have to do that though.
No.
There's like a little box you can uncheck. So if I want to send a note to another teacher for, you know, really going above and beyond for a kid and I want to put specifics in there, you can do that, and then you can just uncheck post to wall so nobody else would see that.
So we do a morning check-in with our students. They check in every morning using the PBIS rewards. We used to do a Google Doc check-in, so we no longer do that. This replaced it. And they every morning put in how do you feel. They can choose one of 4 colors: green, blue, yellow, or red. These are still our zones of regulation that we use.
And this is all, you can customize it to meet whatever you do within your school setting as well.
And that question that just popped up, yes, the online store is part of the PBIS rewards program.
As is this component that's on the screen right now. I'll include it. And again, as a school counselor, this is probably my favorite component of it. I can search a kid and I can see all of their check-ins since the beginning of the year. So it's nice to look at trends. You know, I can pull a kid in and say, hey, like I noticed normally you're green, which you can see on the screen means happy, calm, ready to learn, etc. And you know, all week you've been red. Let's talk about that. Classroom teachers can also see their students' check-ins as well. So it's just a good tool. It's a good tool for, you know, with parents. On the parent app, they cannot see what the student checks in as they're feeling. I see both sides of that. Like it might be nice for some parents, but I could also see where it maybe wouldn't be best for parents to see those check-ins. So, but I share it with parents a lot. You know, a parent calls in and says like, Johnny doesn't want to come to school this whole week. And I can say, well, they're reporting, you know, I can pull up his check-ins and he's reporting that he's green, you know, at 9 o'clock every morning all week. So once he gets here and gets started, he must be okay. But certainly, you know, it's nice to have that to use in communication with parents and with teachers. And you can often notice trends in that depending on the student situation.
So yes, a parent can notify the teacher that they have a rough morning. They can communicate through the PBIS rewards app. And as we said earlier, we still use Dojo as our primary communication piece, but it is something that is an option with PBIS rewards. Homeroom teachers can see their students as a class. They are grouped together. And so here's some data.
I've tracked some of our data here just at the beginning of the school year. We didn't get this implemented, probably with fidelity until the October timeframe. We literally about a week before school started, we're like, okay, we're going to do this, and we started. So you can just kind of see how our data has been trending over the last couple months. So we started the year, and this is just our K-3 data. So this is just kindergarten through third grade. We had 112 referrals in the month of September. That came from 53 different students. And then you can obviously see as we've gone through the school year here through December, we're down to 41 referrals and only 24 students. And that is encompassing about just shy of 300 students in our K-3. Now, I do see the question. The app does track the referral data. If you purchase it, I think it's an extra like $250 or $300. And this is both major and minor referrals. Yes. Unfortunately, our district, we just weren't able to get the systems to talk. We use Skyward as our platform for all of our attendance data, grades. So this is kind of a separate piece that I just kind of pulled into the PBIS rewards, but I'm not
don't know if Swiss would.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain on the Swiss parts. But the PBIS rewards people have been great. When you send them a question, they're back to you in a couple minutes. We had an instance where they actually changed their platform thinking that it was going to make it better. And we had a lot of problems, and I had one of their tech guys from PBIS rewards on a Zoom within an hour, and we were able to get it fixed and figure out the problem. So they're really good tech support. If something comes up and you run into trouble, they're really good at that, getting back to you. But
so we love this data because this is very different than what we've seen in the past. Typically, as the year progresses, especially towards December, we see an uptick in behaviors. We're usually doing reteach lessons and trying to reel kids in with the expectations again. So to see it decreasing, these referrals decreasing, is pretty positive news for us. We like to believe that a lot of the reason for the decrease in referrals is that kids are noticing that they're being rewarded more frequently, and they want those points. They want to earn things that are in the store. They want to get those special items, and they're working hard to do that. We also offer a separate piece that we can touch on here. And I know there was a question about privileges or rewards for students. And yes, we do have that. And we kind of roll it all into one here, and we can talk about that a little bit too. Let's try to get through the rest of this.
I think this
is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
so one of the other things that we do, I wonder if could you share the leader of the pack, the slides that we put up on the TV in the morning? So Tyler's going to look for, we have a TV that is displayed out in our lobby area of the school. And on those slides, we just basically remind kids of upcoming things that are important happenings in the school, new items that have been added to the shop. And one of the big components that we do is leader of the pack. So we do leader of the pack tickets are for our kids who are above and beyond learners. They come to school every day. They are showing us the right thing. They are doing the right thing every day that they are here. And sometimes these kids, in the past, they kind of slipped through the cracks because we were really trying to promote the positive behavior. And these kids that were always doing the right thing maybe didn't get as many rewards as some of the other kids. So we sort of make it our job to make sure that those kids are really recognized. So these are the slides that would be shown up on our screen. So we just have that intro slide. And then this next one here is our leader of the pack. So when teachers are seeing kids that are consistently showing the right behavior, they give them what we call leader of the pack ticket. And then those kiddos put their tickets in a bin down here in the lobby area. And our leader of the pack committee handles putting those kids' names into that document that you just saw back here at the beginning. It's gonna, and the document that you saw has student names on it, so we don't want to display it, but it was that quick view there. It's just a grid of 100 boxes, and we put those student names in there. When that grid gets filled up, then those kids get a special reward. So we have done so far, we had an ice cream truck that came to the school. Most recently, we're going to do hot chocolate bar. Next Wednesday is cookie decorating. And then the next reward is popcorn and a movie. And so usually it turns out that we're doing some sort of a special reward like that for those 100 kids about once a month is what it turns out to be. And yes, they can earn this as many times as teachers feel that they deserve it. So I've had kids that have earned it every time so far, and I really feel like they should.
So I'll just go through here quickly. I know that we're nearing the end,
Yes.
so we can take some questions here. This is our winter theme stuff that we have going on right now.
We kind of utilized Sam's Club, Oriental Trading, Amazon, kind of have to, between Oriental Trading and Amazon a little bit, kind of have to price check what gets you the best bang for your buck. Some of these things were ideas from students, like students know that I'm pretty involved in putting things, and I'll just, in conversation with kids, if, you're just chatting with them, say like, what kinds of things would you like to see in the store? I know earlier in the chat, there was mentioned about just doing a Google survey, whoever fills it out, to kind of give some ideas. So that's kind of where like tech decks are pretty popular with our older boys right now. So that's where that came from. A lot of, slimes still seems to be a pretty big hit here. It's dependent on your school. You can do fidgets, you can do, possibilities are endless. We haven't ventured terribly far into really large prizes yet. Most of our things are like 100-ish points or below. But I think that's something, that we'll be moving towards eventually. Once kids start seeing those options, maybe that will motivate them to save some more. But again, that's something we have not done yet. Definitely doable. Something else we've toyed with the idea of doing, but have not tried that yet this year, is doing things like we used to offer with the buckets, like a reward with a teacher. So like if I wanted to offer like to come into my room and make slime, and I could say slime making with Campbell, and I want to offer it to the first 10 kids that buy that, and then you can still get that staff interaction piece. We haven't done that yet. That's easy to do. You'd only make 10 available. Again, first 10 kids to buy it, get that reward with that teacher if they're willing to give of that time.
Just a couple more questions here. I see rolling in before we have to go. Someone had asked about how many points per day do students get. When you log in as a teacher, at the top of your PBIS rewards on your screen, your goal as a teacher is to give 50 points during the day. So obviously some of those points might go more to some students than others. You can reward them with, like us, we have 4 expectations. So if I get on, I might say, that kiddo right there is just showing me respectful, responsible, ready, safe, all in one shot. I'm going to give them all 4 points. So it really depends on the student. It really depends on the teacher, how often you want to reward, but the goal as a teacher is 50 points a day. There were a lot of questions about copies of the presentation, sharing the slides, list of rewards, different emails. We can make sure that we have that available to you and that gets sent out to you after we're done here today. And there was one other question that came in. Oh, a review of the leader of the pack. That really is just for our kiddos who are going above and beyond. So they're showing respectful, responsible, ready, and safe behavior consistently every day, all day.
I did see that there was a question too about the middle of instruction. So in our district, we have smart TVs now. So at the front, like of our classroom, I have a tab open with PBIS rewards open at the top, and I can toggle back and forth real quickly, obviously not in the middle of a lesson, but after, the students are doing something, I can toggle over, hit a couple of kids, add the points real quick, and it makes a ding sound, and the kids know the sound. And they're like looking to see who got the points and stuff. So it's an easy toggle back and forth. If you have a smart board, smart TV that you can utilize, you can do it right in the middle of class and just keep on moving.
So we hope that this was informative. We are certainly not experts by any means. But I know it's always nice to kind of brainstorm ideas together and hear what other schools and other districts are doing. We love to do the same thing too. So hopefully this has been helpful, and we may see each other again in the future.